Welcome! Today, we're heading deep into the heart of America, far from big cities, into places most folks have never heard of. We're talking about the most hidden, ultra-remote towns in the country. Imagine, no traffic, no skyscrapers, just wide open spaces and a quiet so deep you can finally hear yourself think. Life here moves at its own pace, far from the city's hustle. So buckle up and get ready to have your mind blown. We're pulling back the curtain on places so unbelievable you'll be saying, "No way that's real." Let's hit the road and uncover the secrets of America's most remote corners. First stop, Supai, Arizona, deep in the Grand Canyon. It's the only place in the US where mail arrives by mule. Supai is reached only by an 8-mile hike, mule, or helicopter. Home to the Havasupai tribe, surrounded by stunning blue-green waterfalls. With no cell service, Supai is a world apart, resilient and deeply connected to the land. Up north in McCarthy, Alaska, a tiny dot in the vast Wrangell St. Elias wilderness. Once a wild mining outpost, now just 40 or 50 hardy souls live here, totally off the grid. They generate their own power, hunt for food, and depend on each other through brutal winters. The old Kennecott mine looms as a ghostly reminder of the gold rush days. McCarthy is a living piece of frontier history for those who want to live on the edge of civilization. Monowi, Nebraska, population 1. Elsie Eiler is mayor, librarian, bartender. She is the whole town. Once a busy railroad stop, Monowi emptied as people left for the city. Elsie stayed, running the tavern and a 5,000-book library for her late husband. Travelers from everywhere stop by for a drink and a story. Elsie keeps Monowi alive, a living legacy. Monowi is more than a dot on the map. Elsie is Monowi. Buford, Wyoming, America's smallest town. For years, Don Salmons was its only resident, running the gas station and post office. He eventually sold the entire town at auction, making Buford a quirky stop on Interstate 80. Buford stands as a symbol of the American West, small but unforgettable. Back to Alaska. Whittier, where nearly everyone lives in one building, Begich Towers. This 14-story former Army barracks holds the post office, grocery, and more. Kids go to school through a tunnel, safe from brutal weather. The only road in is a 1-lane tunnel, open just 15 minutes each hour. Living together isn't just practical, it's survival. Whittier is a vertical town built on community and adaptation. Elk Horn, Iowa, the largest rural Danish settlement in the US. A real Danish windmill stands on the prairie, rebuilt by volunteers. Shops sell Danish pastries, and the Museum of Danish America shares immigrant stories. Life here is peaceful, centered on family and tradition. Elk Horn shows how remoteness preserves heritage. Ten Sleep, Wyoming, named for being 10 sleeps from Fort Laramie. This cowboy town sits at the foot of the Bighorn Mountains, where ranchers and climbers share the saloon. Cowboys still move cattle on horseback, and the Old West spirit is alive. 10 Sleep Canyon draws climbers from around the world. 10 Sleep is where the West lives on. Grafton, Utah, near Zion National Park, is a beautifully preserved ghost town. Settled by Mormon pioneers, it was abandoned after floods and hardship. The old schoolhouse and church stand haunting and iconic against red cliffs. Grafton starred in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and remains a favorite for filmmakers. Walking through Grafton is like stepping into the past, where stories linger in silence. Oatman, Arizona, where wild burros roam the streets. Once a gold mining boomtown, Oatman nearly became a ghost town when the mines closed. Now, the burros, descendants of miners' pack animals, rule the town. Wooden sidewalks, staged shootouts, and quirky shops create a living Old West vibe. The boroughs are the stars, photobombing tourists and blocking traffic. Oatman's stubborn spirit makes it a wild stop on Route 66. Terlingua, Texas, a ghost town reborn as an artistic outpost in the Chihuahuan Desert. Once a mercury mining hub, it was abandoned, then revived by artists and free spirits. Residents build homes from rock and recycled materials, creating a unique off-grid community. The Starlight Theater is the heart of town, with live music under the stars. Terlingua is fiercely original, a haven for desert rats and creative spirits. Hanksville, Utah, gateway to alien landscapes. NASA trains Mars astronauts here. The Mars Desert Research Station sits just outside town, where scientists live in simulated space habitats. Hanksville is your ticket to another world. Katina, Alaska, where the Copper River meets the wild. Every summer, Alaskans flock here for dip netting, scooping salmon from the river with giant nets. It's chaotic, thrilling, and deeply tied to tradition. The rest of the year, Katina is quiet, surrounded by the Wrangell Mountains. Life here follows the river and the return of the salmon. Green Bank, West Virginia, inside the National Radio Quiet Zone. No cell phones, no Wi-Fi, nothing that could interfere with the giant radio telescope listening to the universe. Scientists search for distant galaxies and extraterrestrial life. Residents live in a digital blackout, relying on landlines and conversation. For some, it's a challenge. For others, a haven of true quiet. Jarbidge, Nevada, the most remote town in the lower 48. Reached only by rough dirt roads, it's cut off for much of the winter. Once a gold rush boomtown, now just a handful of tough, self-reliant residents remain. The Old West spirit lives on. Historic saloons, rugged buildings, and untamed land. Jarbidge is a living relic for those seeking solitude in the wild. Silverton, Colorado, perched at over 9,300 feet in the San Juan Mountains. Once a silver boomtown, now a National Historic Landmark with Victorian charm. In summer, tourists ride the scenic steam train and explore the mountains. In winter, just 600 hardy residents remain, isolated by snow. Silverton is high-altitude history in action. Luckenbach, Texas, population 3, but world-famous for its music and spirit. A post office turned bar, a dance hall, and a general store make up the town. Since the 1970s, it's been a haven for country legends. Every day, there's live music under the oak trees. Here, everyone's somebody, and strangers are just friends you haven't met yet. All you need is a guitar and a good story. St. Elmo, Colorado, one of the best preserved ghost towns. Once a booming mining town, now just a handful of residents keep it alive. The general store opens in summer, and chipmunks greet visitors. St. Elmo is a fragile, beautiful snapshot of the past. Here, history lingers, and a few dedicated souls keep the heartbeat going. St. Elmo is a living memory. Port Protection, Alaska. No roads, only boats or float planes. Residents live off the grid, generating their own power and food from land and sea. Life here is shaped by tides, weather, and seasons, a constant challenge and a source of freedom. The community is small and tight-knit, built on mutual aid and respect for the wilderness. Port Protection isn't for everyone, but for those who stay, it's true frontier living. Cornucopia, Oregon, once a booming gold rush town, now a quiet ghost in the Wallowa Mountains. The old mine buildings cling to the mountainsides, haunting reminders of a prosperous past. A few people remain, drawn by solitude and the beauty of the Eagle Cap wilderness. cornucopia stands as a testament to the boom and bust cycle of the West. Manly Hot Springs, Alaska, a bush community of less than 100 people. The secret to surviving harsh winters? Hot springs feed a greenhouse, letting residents grow fresh food all year. The springs offer a warm oasis in the subarctic cold. Manly is a base for bush adventures and a stop on the Iditarod Trail. Manly Hot Springs is a warm beacon in Alaska's vast interior. That's our journey, from canyon depths to mountain peaks, one-person towns, to communities under one roof. We've seen resilience, history, and the spirit of adventure in America's hidden corners. Enjoyed this trip? Hit subscribe and join me for more stories. Thanks for watching. Stay curious and keep exploring.